Sony's Xperia Z2 tablet arrives thinner, lighter and more powerful than ever. And like last year's tablet Z, it's still great for movies, it's slick to use and a cut above current Androids, mainly down to the fact that it's waterproof. But with the current tablet Z selling for around £330, has the refresh done enough to make us part with more cash? So the Z2 tablet looks almost identical to the tablet Z, so a slice of glass and aluminium that feels almost worryingly thin and not overly comfortable to hold thanks to its elongated form. But the omni-balance styling, designed to immerse you in what's on the screen, is finished to perfection. From the reflective skeleton frame to the statement power button and artfully hidden port and micro SD flaps. But that's all ruined by the bezels, which are huge by 2014 standards. Now the hardware has slimmed down half a centimetre to just 6.4mm and now weighs a ridiculously light 426 grams for the Wi-Fi only version. That's lighter than the iPad Air, so even after a couple of hours, arm ache won't kick in. Now, aside from the surprisingly powerful speakers sensibly being moved to the front of the tablet from the sides and the new placement of the now flap-free headphone jack, that's about it for the cosmetic changes. As previously mentioned, a big part of the Z2's appeal is its waterproofing, so while other tablets are scared to dip their toes in liquid, the Z2 Tab is now able to withstand drops in up to 1.5 meters of water, which makes it great for a bit of bath time reading, acting as a shower or a cooking tablet, for example. Now, when it comes to screens, Sony's a bit of an expert, and it's here that the Sony Z2 Tab shines. Its 10.1-inch 1920 by 1200 display is bright and crisp, with none of the viewing angle problems that have plagued previous Xperia phones, and that's thanks to tons of Sony's display tweaks. We're talking about the X-Reality Engine Triluminous tech, and now for the Z2, live color LCD technology for brighter colors, which basically translates into superb video viewing. This means you can expect seriously vivid colours and the kind of brightness and contrast that makes for really punchy pictures. But it's about more than just media binging potential when it comes to full-size tablets. That's where apps come in, but Sony hasn't done a lot in this area. So you get an almost untouched version of KitKat with only Sony's Walkman, Movies, Album and What's New apps. There's no user-friendly interface or added business apps like you'll find on some Samsung devices, but that barely their skin is one of our favourites, with two pull-downs, one with quick access toggles, the other for notifications and download updates. The resizable windowed small apps for the likes of Gmail and the browser are a nice multitasking touch too. The excellent universal remote is the closest Sony has to a compelling must-have app, as well as the awesome Wi-Fi throwing of content to bigger screens, but it still needs more worthwhile additions. It's taken a few tricks from its rivals too, like the screen's ability to stay on while you're looking at it and giving it a double tap to wake up the screen a la LG's G2. Now, as expected, the 2.3 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 801 and 3 GB of RAM combination handles everything you can throw at it, from Asphalt 8 to running 6 small apps on top of the browser. This is a very slick tablet indeed. And while we wouldn't recommend tilting a 10-inch tab to play racing games, you can hook up a DualShock PS3 controller to get your game on. And you'll be pleased to know battery life is as good as its predecessor, dropping about 10% an hour of fairly heavy use and lasting just over 9 hours in our usual video rundown test. That means you'll rarely be reaching for Sony's stamina mode, but the power saving function does make a big difference when needed. And it's unlikely to be a tablet priority, but the 8-megapixel camera takes usable, if not brilliant, snaps thanks to Sony's superior auto mode, which flips between scenes as you go along. And the 2.2-megapixel front-facing camera is nice and bright for video calls too, which is something lesser tabs often struggle with. So the Xperia Z2 tablet ticks a lot of the right boxes, and while its waterproof construction is definitely a bonus, it lacks that one killer feature. It still makes for a great movie machine, so if media consumption is what you're after, this certainly makes it attractive, as does its all-day battery life. But it's got to be said, it doesn't quite have the edge over its Apple, Samsung and Asus rivals, and a tablet costing this much needs to be much more of an all-rounder. Here at Stuff, we care about you guys just as much as all the newfangled tech that winds up on our desks. So we'd love to hear what you think. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter and Google+. And of course, for your daily tech fix, make sure you visit our website, stuff.tv, for the latest and coolest gadget news and reviews. And most importantly, don't forget to hit subscribe. Tell your friends.